25-year-old farmer presented with sudden onset, swaying to right leg, back, breathing 3 episodes of vomiting 2 years back. First about swaying. Sudden onset while returning from bathroom at night, unable to walk, had to be supported by 2 persons, associated with the slurring of speech. No sensor or cranial. Sudden onset, associated chest discomfort and sweating. Vomiting 3 episodes on way to hospital. Analyzing history.
Yes.
Where all the farmer presented the sudden onset neurological weakness, first and associated with breathing difficulty. In case of sudden onset neurological deficit, the first diagnosis is cerebrovascular accident.
Next one.
Next one, tumor bleed.
What are the other features of tumor bleed other than swaying?
There may be history of before it's a history of headache will be there, and there will not be any improvement in weakness.
There will not be any vomiting, I believe.
There will be be vomiting. There will be vomiting due to increase in retinal tension.
So can this be something connected with the vertigo?
BPPV is a differential diagnosis and when a patient presented with this in attack, swaying and vomiting.
Good. Analyzing the history further, what do you make out?
And patient is unable to, patient and symptoms of ataxia and unable to walk due to ataxia, and he had to supported by 2 persons. So he have associated weakness also, and there is associated slurring of speech. And more towards the and patient also have in vomiting. It is more suggestive of posterior circulation. And patient also complains of breathing difficulty. When neurological deficits and breathing difficulty coming together, he had to think of 2 separate events on the time, cardiac and cerebral event on the time on, or MI presenting as myocardial infarction presenting as both breathing difficulty and neurological deficits. Myocardial infarction can be present with neurological deficits also, and or otherwise.
Yes.
And we have to.
Yes.
So can I continue?
The question is, how does myocardial infarction produce a cerebrovascular accident?
Myocardial infarction can produce due to decreased blood flow. It can produce, or in its further complication when due to producing thrombus, mural thrombosis. It can cause cerebral vascular accident, and also cardiac event can cause cardiac events like atrial fibrillation can cause embolism and cause cerebral vascular accidents.
So what will be the time at which after myocardial infarction you get these problems?
Usually takes time after 1 week or more.
If there is a sudden drop in blood pressure, it occurs simultaneously along with the MI. Otherwise, it will take more than 72 hours to produce a thrombus and embolism. Carry on with the analysis.
Then more towards then analyzing the for localization of CVA, patient sudden onset weakness and hemiparesis associated with slurring of speech.
Nowhere in the history it is mentioned patient has got weakness. It's mentioned that patient is swaying and unable to walk.
And he needs 2 persons support to walk. So I think of weakness.
Suppose somebody has got cerebral disease, will he be able to walk without support?
No, due to swaying, there needs support.
So there is no word here that he has got weakness.
Okay, sir.
That need not be inferred.
Okay, sir.
Possibility is there can be weakness, but not mentioned here.
Okay, sir.
Proceed.
First, I have think of posterior circulation stroke, cerebellar, in fact, or pons may be the pons is the pond of cerebellar fibers may be the.
How did you localize pons, and how did you localize cerebellar fibers? How did you localize pons?
Pons in pons it's in a pond of cerebellar fibers as patient as.
How did you arrive at pond of cerebellar fibers here?
And,
what's the clue
actually,
for
slurring of speech also.
Can you get slurring of speech in cerebellar disease?
Yes, sir.
So how do you conclude he has got frontal involvement?
In the features of other cranial nerve symptoms, here it is not mentioned. My first possibility is cerebellum itself.
So first possibility is cerebellum.
And patient also have breathing difficulty. If spontaneous respiratory center is involved, we can get breathing difficulty in stroke.
So in such a situation, do you expect the patient to be conscious?
Okay.
Yes or no?
No, sir.
No. So what is the cause of breathing difficulty here? Carry on with the history. Do you have anything else with you?
No, sir. Vomiting 3 episodes.
Any more history? Any more history provided?
So I will read.
We'll go to the next slide.
Course in the hospital.
Breathing difficulty improved.
Improvement of neurological symptoms present. Slurring of speech has improved. Walks with 1% support but swaying to right side present. Smearing of face while having foot present. And it says that there will be an improvement in all the weak symptoms and the onset itself, and there is improvement in symptoms. And it helps to look for the etiology of cerebrovascular accident, more suggestive of embolic stroke.
Okay, carry on to the past history.
Past history. CAD post CABG. History of NYHA grade 3 symptoms since past 1 year, recurring 2 to 3 times hospitalization. And last admission was on July 2020. Is type 2 diabetic mellitus since 9 years on irregular medication. History of nocturia present. No symptoms of neuropathy present. Complaints of decreased vision present. Family history of CAD present in mother and brothers.
What's your differential diagnosis?
First possibility is cerebrovascular accident involving posterior circulation, most probably in cerebellum.
Yes, cardiovascular differential diagnosis.
Cardiovascular accident in a myocardial infarction causing both decreased cerebral blood flow and in pulmonary edema causing breathing difficulty, or atrial fibrillation causing embolism and pulmonary edema.
So what are the neurological diseases which can recover very fast?
First is embolic stroke, hypoglycemia, and Todd's palsy. In case of falling seizure, it also recovers fast.
For even the symptoms you already mentioned, epilepsy you said, syncope you mentioned, CVA, TIA, and for cardiovascular system you said acute pulmonary edema. That's a good differential diagnosis you are given. Okay, why he is vomiting?
Vomiting first is along with the posterior circulation stroke due to increased intracranial pressure or due to involvement of vomiting center, there will be vomiting. And also associated myocardial infarction.
Where is vomiting center situated?
Pons, chemo, piece of Pons, chemotech, in the fourth ventricle, medulla,
So finalize medulla or pons?
medulla.
Medulla. Okay. So there can be vomiting. Any other cause from raised intraocular pressure? What are the features of that vomiting?
It is non-projectile vomiting.
Which
It
one?
will be projectile vomiting. And
What is projectile?
There will not be associated nausea.
Yes. So what are the neurological causes for vomiting? You said raised intraocular pressure. You said disease around the vomiting center. Medullary lesions, especially Wallenberger-like syndrome. So what are the, can you name an endocrine cause for vomiting?
Addison's disease.
Addison's disease. That's good. Okay. Why he has no sensory or cranial lesions?
Maybe patient, no sensory tracts are involved.
Those tracts are spared. You said about NYHA class 3, eh?
Yes, sir.
What is NYHA classification?
New York Heart Association.
That's the full form.
Classification for breathlessness. And NYHA grade 1 is there was breathlessness on severe exertion only.
Unaccustomed.
And no symptoms of physical activity. And grade 2 is slight limitation on, but ordinary activities we can do. And grade 3 is marked limitation of physical activities.
Like?
And grade 4, like patient on regular activities itself, like bathing, brushing, he developed breathlessness.
And 4 is at rest.
At rest.
Right. What is nocturia? He has got nocturia. What is nocturia?
Nocturia, more than 3 times to urinate during night, and it's usually complex.
Nocturia and polyuria, what is the difference? Polyuria patient will be passing you more than 3 times urine at night?
The polyuria more during more than 3 liter and more during daytime.
So majority of the urine output coming at night you call nocturia. Name one cause for nocturia.
Diabetic kidney disease.
What about?
Diabetic nephropathy.
What about other kidney diseases?
It usually causes polyuria.
Nocturia is a feature of all types of chronic kidney disease. It is not specific for diabetes.
Yes.
And he has got decreased vision. What are the cause of decreased vision in a diabetic patient?
Diabetes can involve diabetic retinopathy and diabetic maculopathy. Cataract can cause, and diabetic retinopathy can be proliferative or non-proliferative. And diabetes, the vascular hemorrhage can cause decreased vision, and also diabetes more chance of CVA with the diabetes, and also vascular events causing more chance of vascular events are more chance with the diabetes, and also infections also more with the diabetes causing decreased vision.
So, what are the painful causes of loss of vision in diabetic? What are the painless causes?
Painless causes are diabetic retinopathy and
painful causes.
Painful causes optic neuritis and AION.
AION is painful?
Optic neuropathy.
Is it painful?
Painless. Sorry, sir, painless. Painful cause of loss of vision in a diabetic patient. Are they prone for glaucoma? Sorry. They are prone for glaucoma.
Okay, tell me binocular causes of loss of vision in diabetic patient. Binocular.
Stroke, CVA causing posterior circulation, diabetic retinopathy,
Anything that occurring beyond optic chiasma can produce binocular visual loss. And diabetic retinopathy is also commonly binocular. But monocular, you can have cataract, vitreal hemorrhage, retinal artery occlusion, retinal vein occlusion. Okay, so painful and painless causes are different. So on examination, these are the findings.
On examination, patient is conscious, oriented, no pallor, icterus, cyanosis, clumping, lymphadenopathy and edema. Pulse is 71 per minute, irregularly irregular, or peripheral pulses are felt, no radiofemoral, radioradial or no radiofemoral delay. Pulse apex deficit is 7. Blood pressure 100/60 millimeter of mercury, right arm in supine position, JVP not elevated, respiratory rate 16 per minute, abdominothoracic. From general examination, patient irregularly irregular pulse. Differential diagnosis are atrial fibrillation, ventricular ectopics. The pulse deficit is so then differentials are ventricular ectopics and atrial fibrillation with the controlled ventricular rate. Then we have to look for the response to exercise to differentiate from atrial fibrillation and ventricular ectopics.
Are you very bold enough to make a patient exercise when he has come with pulmonary edema?
No, sir.
Are you able to exercise a person who is walking with two people supporting him either side?
Sir.
So that is not a logical thing.
No.
That's not a logical thing.
Then
What's your comment about his blood pressure?
Blood pressure is in the lower side, 100/60, and for an age of 70, it is on the lower side. Probably as he having standing cardiac illness, maybe it is due to cardiac disease. Patient is having low BP or due to as patients on medication. When a patient will come in cerebrovascular accident, I am expecting high BP, but it is not here. And patient JVP is not raised. I was expecting a cardiac failure. As JVP is not there, it is only left-sided heart failure, not right-sided.
And examination nervous system.
Central nervous system examination. Higher mental functions is normal. Gait, ataxic gait, swaying to right side. Cranial nerve examination. Nystagmus present with the fast component to right.
What is nystagmus?
This is rhythmic oscillatory movement due to defect in fixation of eye. And fast component is to the site of lesion.
So nystagmus is always fast component to site of lesion. Tell me a situation where nystagmus is to the normal side.
In case of peripheral lesion,
what is
central lesion due to nerve, vestibulocochlear nerve.
Okay. Tell me one condition where you have nystagmus only of one eye.
BPP, no sir. Due to INO.
INO, that's right. INO can have that problem. Examination motor system.
motor system examination, bulk normal, tone normal, power, right upper limb 4/5, left upper limb 5/5, right lower limb 5/5, left lower limb 5/5. Reflexes, and biceps absent on right side, sluggish on left side, triceps absent on right side, sluggish on left side, absent on right, absent on left also, knee jerk absent on right, sluggish on left side, ankle jerk absent on right, absent on left, plantar right extensor, left flexor.
So from the history and findings so far, motor system up to reflexes, what's your opinion?
After reflexes, actually reflexes is absent on the right side, though, so I have to think of patient in a neurogenic shock stage itself, and but here his tone is normal. It is not favoring my findings, and power only 4/5 power in the right upper limb. As I am not expecting weakness for this patient, as I am expecting cerebellar involvement. With the power, I am okay, but tone is normal. I am expecting hypotonia.
With the available findings, what can you make out?
Patient in neurogenic shock stage.
That's all what you can make out. What do you expect to find in reflexes of cerebellar disease?
Reflexes usually normal, and also I can make out the next ankle jerk is absent bilaterally, and sluggish reflexes on the left side. There is neuropathy also I have to think of.
So you think he has got a neuropathy because ankle jerks are absent. Anything else can you make out?
Reflexes sluggish on the left side also.
Am I wrong if I infer that this patient has got upgoing plantar on the right side indicating pyramidal lesion?
Yes, sir.
What?
It's indicating
So I can't infer like that.
So
Patient has got pyramidal lesion,
yes,
with possibly associated neuropathy. Sensor system examination, what do you find?
Appreciate pain, touch, temperature equally bilaterally. Vibration impaired up to bilateral angle right and left.
So what is it inference so far?
There is sensory fractures are not involved, and vibration impaired as in case of peripheral neuropathy, vibration sense is first to loss. So patient have length dependent symmetrical peripheral neuropathy.
The first part you said peripheral nerves are not affected because touch temperature pain is equal. Next sentence you are saying vibration is impaired, so it's peripheral neuropathy.
Sensory tracts are not affected, sir.
How do you know
Tracts
the tract?
are not affected.
How do you know tract is affected or not?
Usually, if tracts is affected, there will be some weakness over one side of the sensory symptoms over one side of the body, and
That is not there. On examination, continuation examination, you continue and you are going for coordination now. What are the findings?
cerebellar examination, nystagmus to right finger nose test positive, dysdiadochokinesia present on right, rebound phenomena present on right, bilateral heel knee shin test normal, no vertebral or carotid bruit.
So what do you make out now?
There is cerebellar involvement over the right side.
Right side. Pyramidal is which side?
Pyramidal also right side, sir.
Right side. So CVS findings.
Irregular pulse with pulse apex deficit 7. Inspection mid-length sternotomy scar present. Palpation apex with left fifth intercostal space 1 centimeter medial to midclavicular line. auscultation, varying intensity of S1, S2 heard normally, no murmurs, no S3.
So what do you make out now?
Patient irregular pulse. My DDs are atrial fibrillation with on treatment and ventricular ectopics. Patient have midline scar. It may be due to his past history of CABG, and there was no cardiomegaly, and there was no S3, and it is patient may be improved from left ventricular failure, and varying intensity of S1 suggestive of atrial fibrillation.
So your cardiovascular diagnosis?
Atrial fibrillation.
Fibrillation. Okay. So respiratory system G8 is normal.
Okay.
So irregular pulse causes
ventricular atrial fibrillation and ventricular ectopics.
How do you differentiate between the two?
From pulse apex deficit, usually for atrial fibrillation, it is less than. For atrial fibrillation, it is more than 10, and for ventricular ectopics is less than 10. And usually from response to exercise also we can differentiate atrial fibrillation and ventricular ectopics.
Hey, exercise and all for healthy people. For people with cardiovascular disease, you do not make them exercise. That is no good.
Okay. Okay.
Any other point? So when you look at pulse of atrial fibrillation, it will be irregular. But ventricular premature contraction, commonly it is a regular pulse. Now and then comes an ectopic, premature, and then a compensatory pause. Atrial fibrillation, if you count the pulses consecutively, the volume of the pulse keep on changing. Ventricular premature contraction, you will find that commonly they are regular, except for that premature beat and the next one. Pulse deficit, you are rightly pointed out, more than 10. And what happened to BP in atrial fibrillation?
It will be variable.
Why?
For atrial fibrillation.
Is it systolic BP or diastolic
Due
BP?
to varying stroke volumes.
So it's
Systolic BP will be
systolic BP.
Proper.
And BP of ventricular premature contraction will be constant. What happened to JVP?
AVP absent in case of atrial fibrillation.
And
It is normal for ventricular.
premature.
Normally present for ventricular
First chart sound.
premature contraction.
First chart sound.
S1 variable for atrial fibrillation and ventricular premature complexes. S1 is constant, not variable.
So what is the differential diagnosis for ataxia?
Ataxia may be due to sensory causes.
What is meant by sensory cause? Very silly.
Sensory due to usually peripheral neuropathy. Due
Can you get sensory ataxia in spinal cord diseases?
Vitamin B12 deficiency.
Where is the
also.
lesion? Is in the peripheral nerve?
Posterior column involvement.
Where is posterior column situated? Is in the peripheral nerve?
For sensory ataxia and posterior column involvement, peripheral neuropathy both can lead to ataxia.
Where is posterior column situated?
In the spinal cord.
Spinal cord. So both spinal cord disease and peripheral nerves can produce sensory ataxia. How patients say about ataxia, two people are supporting him. How do you know it's sensory or cerebellar?
For this patient, there was no variation of any symptoms. In case of sensory ataxia, it will worsen at night or when patient closes eyes.
Why?
And
Why?
For our vision also helps to Vision helps in maintaining posture.
Vision
And
helps to
when
maintain the
visual
posture.
component,
So when vision is
visual
gone, they
components
will
is
tend to fall. Any other difference?
and there in case of sensory ataxia, other sensory symptoms will be there and
There.
will not be there for cerebellar ataxia.
Any
And
other difference?
on examination, rhombus will be positive for sensory.
So
Test
how do you elicit
rhombus.
rhombus? How do you elicit rhombus sign?
Ask the patient to keep both legs together with eyes and first ask them to stand with keeping both legs together, then ask them to close the eyes. In case of cerebellar disease, we cannot make the patient to stand steady even without eyes open. But in case of sensory ataxia, when closing the eyes, patient will tend to fall.
Okay. So what is the diagnosis in this case?
Cerebrovascular accident, ataxic hemiparesis, probably embolic stroke involving cerebellum, and atrial fibrillation, and then acute pulmonary edema during the time of examination, and CAD status post CABG, type 2 diabetes mellitus, diabetic retinopathy, diabetic nephropathy.
We don't know about diabetic retinopathy and nephropathy. They all come with investigations.
Okay.
But we can presume he has got possibly peripheral neuropathy.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So this patient got peripheral neuropathy. Is it the cause for ataxia?
Ataxia probably due to cerebellar involvement.
Why? Why not due to peripheral neuropathy?
The patient has symptoms even when there was no variation of ataxic symptoms, and it is present when eyes open also. And
what are the investigations you plan?
There was
diagnosis.
Investigation when a patient is coming with a sudden onset neurological deficit.
What investigation you plan? What investigation you plan?
Patient coming with a cerebral vascular accident, first we have to do CT scans to differentiate between hemorrhage and infarct.
You are doing CT chest.
CT brain. CT brain to differentiate between bleed and hemorrhage, bleed and infarct. Then we have to take ECG for this patient to look for atrial fibrillation or ectopics. And I am also thinking of myocardial infarction, I have to look for STT changes also. Then go for chest X-ray to find out the cause of acute onset breathlessness. Then go for hemogram, look for polycythemia and a secondary cause of cerebrovascular accident, and then also look for dot count if there is any brain abscess or like if there is any infective cause for breathlessness also, and look for platelet count, and there is any risk of thrombosis in this patient, and then look for troponin test to look for cardiac involvement in ischemia is there. Then go for renal function test as patient has strep nocturia, and also go for PT-INR if there is any chance of bleeding disorder in this patient. go for ESR also. Any chronic disease is there. And also I have to look for electrolytes, or as hyponatremia and dyselectrolemia can also cause this. And of course, blood sugar value has hypoglycemia can present with, should be done even in more, much earlier than this.
So this patient had a CT, had a ECG, X-ray, echo, drop by glucose, lipids, urea, creatinine. ECG was showing some findings. Otherwise, there were no findings. What will you do? Can you have normal CT in this patient?
Yes, sir. When patient there takes time to develop impact in CT chest, we doing CT chest, CT brain to look for any only to differentiate between hemorrhage and infarct. And in case of posterior circulation stroke also, there will not be findings in CT brain. We need to take MRI brain if we have to localize the lesion in posterior circulation.
MRI was done in this patient.
MRI brain show acute infarct in bilateral cerebellar hemisphere, BERMIS, age-related brain atrophy. Patient have infarct in bilateral cerebral hemisphere, that is in territory of two arteries. So it is more suggestive of cardioembolic cause.
Which are the two arteries you're talking about?
Bilateral posterior cerebral artery.
Bilateral posterior cerebral artery branches of what?
Basilar artery.
Basilar artery. Okay. So this is the ECG. What do you make out of that?
Patient in controlled ventricular rate. There is no P wave in this ECG.
What is the rhythm? Is it regular, irregular?
Irregular rhythm.
Irregularly regular, irregularly irregular. What type of rhythm is this?
Irregularly irregular.
Irregularly irregular. P waves are seen?
No, sir.
P waves are not seen. So this is AF.
Okay.
So why you say ataxic hemiparesis? Why did you use the term hemiparesis? Why didn't you use
patient has
ataxia?
Patient has ataxia and weakness. I am not expecting weakness in case of pure cerebellar disease. As patient have both ataxia and weakness, I have to use ataxic hemiparesis.
Suppose you have got a brainstem lesion on one side, what do you expect to find?
And there will, for in case of brainstem lesion, there will be associated lower cranial nerve symptoms also. Usually it is associated with the
unilateral brainstem lesion. Where do you expect? Suppose it is a midbrain lesion or a upper pontine lesion. Where is the expected pyramidal lesion?
Pyramidal lesion in the contralateral side, and ipsilateral side there will be cerebellar signs and also cranial nerve symptoms.
So why in this patient both are on the same side?
There will be some lacunar strokes causing both hemiparesis and ataxia on the same side.
So where will be the lesion?
Lesion can be in the pons, pontocerebellar fibers, and also in the cerebellum,
pontocerebellar fibers. So what is the term?
Spinocerebellar fiber.
What is spinocerebellar? So what is the term ataxia hemiparesis means? What do you mean by that? Ataxia hemiparesis means hemiparesis and ataxia on the same side. That is what not expected in the case of CVA, where opposite side pyramidal and same side cerebellar is expected. So when you have this combination same side, you call it as ataxic hemiparesis. So why do you say it's got AF?
patient have long-standing cardiac illness,
Good.
and so there is chance of atrial fibrillation
So,
due to
irregular pulse deficit, varying S1. You already mentioned the findings in favor. So, how do you get these findings in atrial fibrillation? You said different findings.
regular. In atrial fibrillation, there will be multiple focus. The impulses are not from the SA node. There is multiple focus in the atrium, causing conducting the impulse, and there will no rhythm for the heart to contract. So, heart will not. There will not, diastole will be compromised, and there will not be enough blood to pump. The volume of blood in each cycle is different.
Okay, so in atrial fibrillation, the pulse comes irregular because all the impulses are not conducted downwards.
Correct.
So, it is erratic. That's why you get irregular pulse, and you are getting pulse deficit because some of the conductions will be characterized by contractions that produce adequate amount of ejection of blood which come to peripheries of pulse, and few others there is no adequate blood to produce an effective pulse. So if you count heart rate and pulse rate simultaneously by two observers simultaneously, you will find heart rate is far ahead of pulse rate. That's how you get pulse deficit. Why do you get variable volume?
Due to variable stroke volume, as diastolic is not each contraction, there will be variable stroke volume causing variable BP.
The stroke volume keeps on changing because diastolic period is variable. So you get variable volume of the pulse. That's why irregular volume. Same token, you will have irregular blood pressure. So in atrial fibrillation, you must take at least 3 separate readings of systolic blood pressure and must show it is variable. Okay, why air waves are absent?
As in atria not contracting case of
our air waves produced.
Atrial fibrillation. Atrial fibrillates only.
Why?
There is no contraction.
Where is this air wave produced from?
Air wave produced from due to atrial contraction is causing,
which is absent. How do you identify air wave in the JVP?
It is before S1, first positive wave.
How do you identify S1?
Along with S1, this air wave, and along with we get pulse. Along with S2 pulse, we get V wave.
Which pulse you want to feel?
Carotid pulse.
Carotid pulse. So why do you get variable S1?
Variable S1, actually S1 is dependent on position of mitral valve. Mitral valve is in variable position in case of atrial fibrillation.
Why?
Due to volume of the blood in ventricle is varying.
The position of the mitral valve depends upon the duration of diastole. If the diastole is very long, by the time the heart starts contracting, valves are almost closed. It produces a soft sound. On the other hand, if the diastolic interval is very short, valves are widely open and then valves shut, you get a loud S1. That's why you get variable S1 in AF. So summarize the findings of AF: irregular in rhythm, irregular in volume, pulse deficit present, variable BP, air waves are absent, and S1 is variable. So these are the important things you must remember. Pulse, 3 points are there: irregular rhythm, irregular volume, pulse deficit. Blood pressure, you have to 3 things you must remember: 3 readings of systolic blood pressure, and JVP, air wave, and auscultation, first heart sound. These are things minimum you must find out in a case of atrial fibrillation. But when you are using drugs to reduce the heart rate, then this pulse deficit may not strictly come to 10. That's applicable for patients who are not on treatment. So where do you anatomically localize the lesion?
In case of ataxic hemiparesis, my localization usually in the frontopontocerebellar tracts.
So how does it come down?
It can be in the pons also, cerebellum.
Where does it start, madam?
Frontal lobe.
Frontal lobe. Frontopontocerebellar. So frontopontocerebellar fibers. So the lesion can be in the
frontal lobe.
Frontal
Corona
lobe.
radiatum.
What are the features of lesion in the frontal lobe?
In case of frontal lobe, there will be patient have associated higher mental function defect. There will be social inhibition will be lost for patient, and there will be change in his character.
Anything else?
Seizure can be as in case of cortical lesions. There will be initially there will be seizure.
What else?
Motor aphasia.
Motor?
Motor aphasia will be there.
Lesion can be in the frontal lobe. Your answer is not correct. You will come to that. Can they be internal capsule?
Lesion can be in the internal capsule also.
Fibers you are talking about pass through internal capsule.
Yes, sir.
Does it pass through corona radiata?
Yes, sir.
Does it pass through pons?
Yes.
From pons, how does it go to the other side?
Pontocerebellar fibers.
This is from frontopontocerebellar fibers. How does it go there? They pass through what's called as middle cerebellal peduncle.
Okay.
And the lesion can be in the cerebellum. So you know these are the sites where you can have the lesion. Frontal lobe, corona radiata, internal capsule, pons, cerebellum, anywhere can be. So what is the lacunar stroke?
Lacunar stroke due to small vessel strokes, usually embobbing. Small stroke causing symptoms.
Tell everything about lacunar stroke. Whatever you know, tell.
Less than 3 centimeter.
Less than?
3 centimeter.
3 centimeter.
And can cause pure motor, pure sensory strokes can be there. The patient also can present dysarthria, clumsy dysarthria only. Patient involving symptoms involving only hand and ataxic hemiparesis all can be due to lacunar.
Anything else you want to say? What's the risk factor for lacunar stroke? Who gets it?
Diabetes.
What's the etiology?
Hypertension, diabetes, embolic.
That's right. What's the pathology?
Atherosclerosis.
Atherosclerosis, yes. What else?
Lipohyalinosis.
Lipohyalinosis. What else? So they are small, 0.2 to 15 millimeter, not centimeter.
Okay.
They can be in the frontal lobe, but they are never in the cortex. They can be in the lobe, but not in the cortex. And lacunar strokes are not hemorrhages, they are infarcts. They occur by occlusion of a single branch of an end artery. What's end artery?
Last branch. There is no
after bifurcation or communication stops the blind end. Usually branches at an acute angle from the large arteries. Such vessels are selectively taken up. So how to diagnose is by clinical setting, but always with a radiological investigation which must show these small sized infarcts. Then you can say it's a lacunar infarct. What are the common sites?
Basal ganglia, putamen, globus pallidus, thalamus, caudate nucleus.
Caudate nucleus. Coming to the subcortex. Subcortex. The frontal lobe subcortex can affect the
internal capsule, corona radiata,
and it can be in the pons. These blood vessels are vulnerable blood vessels to the effects of hypertension. That's why it commonly occur in people, hypertensive people. Etiology, as you are told, atherosclerosis, embolism, hypohalinosis. Add to that, we have got endothelial dysfunction also. And the risk factor is hypertension, diabetic, we have mentioned. Then important things are, we said, cortical signs are absent. So what went wrong with you is you said aphasia. Aphasia rules out the diagnosis. Apraxia rules out the diagnosis. Agnosia rules out the diagnosis.